This video is going to go through the process of creating a feature layer and hosting it on a web map, saving the web map, and sharing the web map so that you can open it up in Collector, and then collecting information from the field using Collector for ArcGIS, and then going back to the computer and getting the data from your device onto Arc Online and then into Arc Pro. So let's begin. The first thing we need to do is to create a feature layer. So you've logged into ArcGIS Online. In the content area, go to create and create a feature layer. The information that I'm going to be collecting today is about a potential prescribed fire unit. So I'm going to select to build a layer, and I'm going to be creating points, lines, and polygons. So I'll select this feature template, since those are the three types of data that I'll be creating. And I'll say create. And I'm going to check the box for capture GPS receiver information. And I'm just going to zoom roughly into where I'll be. I can adjust the location as I go later. The title of my prescribed burn unit is going to be the Old Arb, stands for the Old Arboretum, and we'll call this University of Idaho RAM 407 for some tags, and we're going to be creating a potential prescribed fire on the Old Arb. So my new feature layer opens, and I want to just check my settings here. I'm going to go into settings, and I'm just going to make sure that enable editing is checked and enable sync is checked. If those two things are unchecked, then you won't be able to view your map in Collector. And in the future, if you end up with a layer that you're not able to see in Collector, try checking those settings. So back on my overview page, I'm going to go ahead and select Open in Map Viewer. Now I've had a couple other map views open, and so that's why some new things have popped up here that you won't be able to see. So I'll take those off. And these are the three layers that I just created. I'm going to go and remove these other layers. And I'm going to select a base map that I'll want. I'll be working in this area here on the University of Idaho campus. And the base map that I want in this case is the aerial imagery. So I might check the other base layers just to see if something might work for me better. Perhaps the topographic would be good, but in this case I think that the aerial imagery would be best. And now I'm going to save as. Now you'll notice that this opened in an existing map that I have. So I'm going to go and save as, so it'll create a new map for me. And this one is going to be named So now I'm going to go back to my contents area. And here's my Old Arb feature layer. In order for it to get into Collector, I need it to be on a web map. So I'm going to select these three dots here, and I'm going to select Add to New Map with Full Editing Control. If I were to open in Map Viewer, it would open in a map that I might have been working on earlier. This will open in a new map. So here's the area that I had generally zoomed into. And here are the 3 new layers that I've created. And of course they're empty, nothing is in them yet because I haven't collected any data. So now that I have my area, I'm going to go and zoom a little bit closer to where I'll be sampling. And I'm going to change my base map to aerial imagery. And I'm going to be working on the old Arboretum on the University of Idaho campus. Once I have my area generally zoomed in, I'm going to go to Save, and I'm going to save my map. And I'm going to call it the old Arb RX. RX stands for Prescribed Fire. And we'll call this tags University of Idaho, REM 407, and Prescribed Fire. And I'm going to save it to my general folder. I could also select a different folder that I'd created to save this information. Now there's one more piece of important work that we need to do, which is to add a feature to the attributes of each of these layers. So first a table will be created, and we're going to need to add a new feature here for notes. Now if we're really getting fancy, we would make lots of different things in the attribute table to fill in automatically, but we are going to do as basic as we can today and just add a field and call it notes. And the display name is notes as well. And that's an important piece. I learned that if you don't have a display name in there, then it doesn't show up as anything in your collector. And add the new field. And we'll do that for each of these tables. Notice I have some different options on what kind of format it would be. So a string would allow us to type in information, text information, and if we just had numbers, then we could do some of the other fields there. All right, and now we'll save again. And then we will go to our device and see what we see. All right, so here's my iPad, and I've refreshed it. I pull down the little circle wheel, and my map has shown up, and I can open it immediately. I can see where I'm at on the map. But what I'd really like to do is prepare this area for offline use, since most of the time I'll be working in an area that doesn't have a network connection. So I would click these 3 buttons here, 3 dots, and select Add an Offline Area. And then I would center it on the area that I want it to be, and I would zoom to that extent and select Download Area. And that'll take a little bit to do. While that downloads, let's look at what it looks like on an Android device. So here's my map library, and I would select Download, in this case, at the bottom. And I would select a base map. These 2 base maps are ones that I've downloaded for other maps, and I would select Download to a new base map. And so again, I would zoom into my area, and I'm including a portion down here that has a water source that I'll use in my prescribed fire planning map. And I would choose my map detail. So this is the detail of a neighborhood. If I zoomed in closer, then it would have a larger file but have a little bit more detail. So choose the detail that you want there, and then select Download. I'm not going to download it from this device. This one's all set to go, and when I click on it, I can see now that I'm off the map, and I have a chunk that's been downloaded for offline use. And now we're ready to go and sample on our unit. This is the old Arboretum on the University of Idaho campus, and we are going to be planning a potential prescribed fire on the old Arboretum today. Isn't that exciting? All right, so on our map, we've got our downloaded area, and here we are. So we want to create a polygon for a potential perimeter of our fire. So I'm going to click the plus sign down here, and I'm going to add a new polygon feature. And I'm going to say in the notes section that this is the perimeter. And then done, and slide that down. And I'm going to, I could add a point and go around add points, but I'm going to stream, which is the same thing as you might understand the term tracking. So we would start streaming there. Now just to show you what that looks like on an Android device. So in this case, I would click the plus button over here, selecting the new feature, and I have that place for notes, and I would select stream, and that would also create that perimeter. I'm not going to stream two perimeters though, because then I would have two on the same map since they're the same map. All right, so I'm going to start walking now around my unit. And now I'm back to the beginning, and I can select stop streaming and then submit. Now my polygon is complete. So back to my plus sign, I'm going to add something else. When I was on my walk around, I noticed a couple of features that might need to be protected on their prescribed fire. So I'm going to walk over to them. So we've got a bench here, so I'm going to add a point, and I'm going to take a photo of this bench, use this photo, and I'm going to add a note about this, say that it's a bench, and submit. Right here as well, I have this historic stump that we should dig some line around. So I'll do another point. New feature. Call it stump. And take a photo. Use the photo. And submit. I saw one more feature needs to be accounted for. We've got a snag relatively close to the line. Pretty neat habitat tree there, so we'll want to protect that one as well. So plus another point, new feature, and take a photo. Call it a snag. All right, so on my map I can see that I've got 3 points. All right, so what I additionally need to plan for on this prescribed fire are some escape routes. Let's see what we can find. So we're on roughly the corner of our unit, and for resources that would be on this half of the fire, if there were something that needed to escape from, they could leave from this point, and we'll start a new line. And we'll call this escape route west. And we'll take a photo. We'll be going this way. And we're going to stream this as well. Start streaming. And here we are at the end of our escape route. And we will submit that. All right, now back up to our unit. All right, now we're at another corner of our unit. We're gonna add another escape route here. Line feature, we'll call this escape route east. And we'll take a photo. And then we'll start streaming. And here's the end of our escape route. And submit. Now I'm going to dry my iPad off a little bit. And we're going to add a feature that we're not going to go to. So I've got a couple of water sources here that would be great for filling up or dip sites for a helicopter. So I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to move my cursor so that it's on top of one of those water sources. I'm going to say new feature. I'm going to call this pond. And I'm not going to take a photo. And I'll click submit. And then what I also have is a place for a helicopter to land in case we need to have an emergency evacuation. I've got some tennis courts here. So I'm going to click the plus sign, move my cursor around to one of those tennis courts, and I'm going to click new feature and call this one Helispot. Click submit. And there's my new feature. All right, with that, I'm ready to go back to the office. And now we're back at the office. Let's see what we have. Well, we have one steamy computer. So it's syncing. We've got nothing on our screen so far, and voila! There are our layers that we just collected from the field. And if we went to look at them, we've got information about who collected it, the coordinates, and then at the end, we've got some notes. Bench, stump, snag, pond, helispot. Wow. All right. That's it for today. See you later.